Hello. How are you doing? It's Uncle Aaron. By the fireplace. There is a fireplace there, you see. Just pretend it's on. Pretend you're nice and warm and cosy. Get your pipe. And chill out. Uncle Aaron's got something to talk about. I wonder how loud that is. Come here. Let's come here a little bit closer. So they get drowned out by that. How many of you have your music that when you put it on, you just go into a meditation? This stuff, they knew how to do it then, people. The world's corrupt now, they don't know how to do it. Maybe they know how to do it, but they don't, they won't. Because they don't want people relaxing, you see. In the old days, people used to listen to classical music. Used to think Beethoven and Schubert, and Tchaikovsky and all those sort of people. But the powers that be don't want people relaxing. They want to keep them on edge. So they don't make chill music like this anymore. I'm going to need a glass of water. Just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. So you know what's been happening throughout the years with you and me? You've been conditioned into learning how to listen. And that's why I'm not afraid of pauses. I'm not afraid of going to get a glass of water and leaving you alone. I'm not afraid that you will leave the video. I'm not afraid that you'll get frustrated and you'll get angry and you'll unsubscribe and you'll go somewhere else because you want the information now. You want the secrets to the universe now. But most of you who have been around a long time, you know that doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that, does it? So, for those of you that want to chill out, and I suppose you are a similar sort of age to me, otherwise you'll find it very difficult to do. When my sister came round the other night, she said she wanted to talk. But I knew she didn't know how to talk. Talking. Okay. We can talk at people. Most people do that, don't they? You meet them in the street, or they call you up on the phone, or wherever they are, and they're talking at you. And for instance, if you meet someone in the street, oh, how you doing? Oh, yeah. Oh, look at the weather. Oh, it's freezing. Oh, it's shit, isn't it? Oh, push. Oh, have you seen what's on the news? And, oh, my hip's hurting a little bit. Or, oh, can't go in money at the minute. You're waiting for a new job. Or, you know, or they go into these monologues, don't they? And the monologues are just a projection of their angst. That's all they're ever doing. Just a projection of their angst. So that's not really communicating, is it? It's just offloading. It's just piling their shit onto whoever is unfortunate enough to meet them. And then if you listen to conversations, if you're aware of conversations, people, and you listen to people, and you see what's being said, and you'll notice, invariably, 9 times out of 10, so that person is unloading their shit, that person is unloading their shit, or they're speaking about very, very mediocre rubbish, just burning up nervous energy, just trying to be congenial. Nobody's actually saying anything, are they? Nobody knows how to talk. You know, talking is when people sit down, like, I mention these people because lots of you will have listened to them. What is it, Bill Dalihanty? Is that his fucking first name? Dalihanty, Peterson, Harris, Murray. These sort of people. The Hitchin Brothers. Sadly, Christopher is no longer with us, but these people, they could talk, they could listen, they had this fine art of communication, and to hold a conversation, people have to be very intellectual. I think most people really, they would need to have great personable skills. They have to know when to listen. They have to know when to interact. They have to know how to engage. They have to read mannerisms and body language and inflection in people's voice. They have to be able to do all these things, so they have to be somewhat psychologists. Because if you're not a psychologist and you don't know what's going on, you might get frustrated or angry with the person because they're not allowing you to speak, or they're speaking out of turn, or they're speaking rubbish, and they're dominating the conversation and all these different sorts of things. Yep, all that goes on, people. But when you have educated people, like those I've just mentioned, it's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? My sister doesn't have any of those qualities. She doesn't know how to talk. All she knows how to do is vent. She doesn't know how to think. All she knows how to do is to live a living hell with all of her taped loops which go round and round and round and round in her mind, just like they always have done. The same things for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. The same old shit, the same old insecurities, the same old pet hates. She was persecuted by our stepmother because she was the oldest girl, and our stepmother felt threatened by that and didn't like the attention that our father gave to my sister. Now, my stepmother, she was 16 when she married my old man, who at the time I think probably was about 32 or something like that. And my stepmother was the sister of my dad's brother. And my dad met this woman at the wedding. The older sister was marrying my dad's younger brother. And so anyway, they married, and 7 kids were born via her. And being a young girl, not even a woman, and having to look after 4 children, I think I was like 8 when I went to live with her. My younger sister, Tina, she was 6, no 7, she came later. Those sort of ages anyway. And so then the stepmother had a child of her own, the first one, and you know, that kept her busy, and then she had another and another and another. But the relationship that my sister had with the stepmother was a very persecutory one. Stepmother felt very threatened, whether for valid reasons or not, and so that stayed with the sister forever, and she absolutely hated the wicked stepmother. And I used to say to her in recent times, you've got to let it go. And she would say to me, I will never let that fucking bitch go. That fucking bitch, that fucking this and that. And I'm like, you see what's happening? You see what's happening? Every time you think of that bitch, then you relive that horror. And you're killing yourself. Fuck. And I said, look, you just don't grasp, do you, that every time you think evil about that woman, the evil is within you. It's within your mind, in your body. It's your cortisol that's triggering. It's your anxiety. It's your hate. It's all of these things. They're yours. And even when the stepmother died, she still never let up. And I'm like, even now that woman is 6 feet under, and she's bones. She's still living within you, because you keep her alive. You allow that spirit to haunt you every single day. She could never ever get her head around how beneficial it would be just to go, she was a young woman when she met our father. She was troubled by me being beautiful and felt threatened. But at some level, I've got to rise above that and forgive her for her transgressions and her insecurities and all the rest of it. How can you keep levying hate? That's what's killing my sister. That's what's made her life a living hell. So every time she comes to see me, because she wants to talk, she just wants to vent, and it's all about that stuff. And she's a drinker, been drinking all of her life. Alcoholic. Functional one though. She can go out to work, she does that, she doesn't drink, but then when she comes back she drinks. So, you know, she's fortunate in that it's a functioning alcoholism, and she'll just drink 4 cans of strong cider each day, and she'll never stop. But she proclaims that if it wasn't for that, then she'd be long dead. And I'm like, well, it's easy to support your addiction with some level of rationalising that, well, if I couldn't get through the day with my drinking, then I would have killed myself a long time ago. Maybe. But people, the reason why I'm talking about this is because whenever I'm speaking about myself or someone I know or something like that, it's all just an opportunity for you to think about you. Think about your life. Think about your relationships. You know, people have levelled in the past, your channel is all about you. And I'm like, how naive, how foolish, how very unintelligent. Just because I speak about things that are going on in my mind, my channel isn't about me. My channel is about what it is to be a human being. And, you know, throughout all these 15 years that I've been making videos, I've found it ever increasingly more and more difficult to converse with people, because, of course, the viewer, lots of you are new and you're young and you're naive and you're not too bright and you're full of programs and all this sort of stuff. And you'll say ridiculous things because your mind is full of ridiculous things. And one of the viewers the other day, when I was speaking about how I took it upon myself to investigate what the difference is between belief and faith, he said, well, what is it anyway? As if, well, I could just give him the answer. I could just give him the bite. I could just give him the tweet, and then he would know. And that's the sickness which is prevailing today, isn't it? Everybody thinks that they can get the knowledge of the cosmos in a fucking tweet. And they're not prepared to pick up books. They're not prepared to read. They just want to flick through TikTok. And to watch a video like this is a very, very acquired taste, isn't it? And probably most of you who have the constitution to watch videos like this, you don't work. You've emancipated yourself somehow, maybe through sickness or through age, but you've emancipated yourself, so therefore you have the leisure and you can watch an hour or an hour and a half of the Awakened Brave speaking very slowly, not really getting to the point, not giving you any bites, not giving you any tweets. You gotta sit through it, you gotta put the pieces together, you gotta contemplate it, you gotta listen. And I'll digress here and I'll go off on a tangent there, and then I'll come back. So, how many of you can talk? How many of you can really express yourselves? How many of you know yourselves? To be able to express yourselves in an eloquent and very rational and reasonable way. If my sister came round to me when she said she wanted to talk, and she sat on that couch, and she said, I keep destroying everything. Well, she did say that. And I said, okay. And then I was beginning to speak about that, but she cut me off. And she went on to unload something else. And of course, she's drinking at the time, and so it's exceedingly difficult to have a conversation with her. She can never, in actual fact, she's never ever, in all the years I've known her, asked me, what do you think about this? Like coming round my house, wanting to speak with me, because she may think that I have something for her, or I could shed some light on her scenarios, offer some good advice. She doesn't come round for that. She comes round just to unload. Like 99% of the world, my elder brother is absolutely insufferable. He doesn't ever come round, and he never even phoned me up when I came back from the States, because his world is all about him. He is the only person in it. It's him, and the few relationships, oh, they're terrible, and it causes him this, and he can't manage to make any amount of money, and he can't get out of his squalor, and all these problems, and I've always told him, you wallow in your own self-pity and your own creation of your own problems, and you project that onto the whole world. The world isn't like that. Look around you. People driving nice cars and living in big houses and having wonderful holidays and all these different sorts of stuff. They're not crying like you are. They don't see the world like you do. What is it about the way you think that you can't get outside of that? People can't get outside. They're locked in like catatonics. They just can't get outside of their own self-pity and their own trauma. It's shocking how many people can actually sit down and say, I wonder if you can help me with this. I think about this and I think about that, and I've got an idea as to why I think about these things, but I just wanted to run it by you. You know a little bit about psychology and things like that. So what do you think about that? And then we can have a conversation. And then I could say, well, do you feel this or do you feel that? Or when does it come about? And we'd investigate. And then, being a rational thinking person, he'd go, it comes about then. Oh, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. When I do that, when I go and see that person, then I get these feelings. Okay, right, yeah, why am I getting these feelings? What, like some sort of unresolved stuff? Yeah, that's right, unresolved stuff. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Unresolved stuff. Childhood issues and all that. Yeah. But my sister can't talk. She can't listen. So if a person can't listen, can't talk, just unload and just exhibit their trauma, then how can you help them? You know, I've advised her to go to see a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, but she said, yeah, well, what if this came out? And what if that came out? And I'm like, well, that's what you want, isn't it? Yeah, but I don't want that. You don't want what? So it's like she's terrified of the boogeyman or skeletons in the closet. Maybe somewhere in her archives she's repressed something and she doesn't ever want to revisit that again. And so therefore she runs away from it all of her life. Because she knows if she goes to therapy, she's going to have to visit that. She's going to have to go back. She's going to have to go back day by day by day by day and live it again. And some people can't stand that. It's too terrifying. Because they have to confront what they've been running away from all their lives. And they've made it such a mountain. The longer you run from it, the bigger it becomes. And it becomes something that is terrifying to contemplate. Because to confront that magnitude, that monster in your mind, you're going to be lying on your back for the next week, month, year, because it's going to shock your system to the core, and you're going to have to rise again like the phoenix. And that's the thing with therapy. It destroys much about your current life. Because once you've gone back, you can't live with this anymore. Because you have to go on another trajectory. And people, it's kind of like if they've got family and kids and a job. Well, what would it mean for all those? You know, would I not be able to care for my kids? Would I not be able to support my partner? Would my relationship fail with him? Would I lose my job? Would I lose the house? Maybe, yeah, maybe. You lose all that stuff to save your soul. How many people would value their soul over their material goods and comfort zone? The best thing that can happen, people, is that this awakening is forced upon you, like it was with me, an egoic implosion. When things get so bad, they get so stressful, they get so heavy, your mind can't take it anymore. Your ego can't take it anymore, and it just implodes. And then you are on the floor. And in my book I write about all this, going through the dark night of the soul for 7 years. Why 7? It's that special number. 7 years. And then another 7 years to really come out of it. So I was in the dark night of the soul for 14 years, people. 14 years. I was working it out, working it out, working it out. And it's only been in the very, very, recent times of, let's say, this last year, when I really felt as if I finally have a handle on things. Read all the books, done all the meditation, all the contemplation, watched all the videos. Finally, just let it all go. Just let it all go. And I say to my sister, I say, what do you see when you look at me? When you look at me here. And as I sat here, Patsy Cline was playing, I set the mood. And she goes, she doesn't know. She's never ever contemplated that. She's always thinking about, oh, Aaron would like this and a bit Aaron would like that, and some fucking old t-shirt and hot pot, and I'll take this to Aaron and but she could never ever enter into my consciousness. She could never ask me if I've got something on my mind. Get it over. Yeah, tell me now, get it over. Hurt me now and get it over. Yeah. And so, many people are trapped like that, aren't they? They're trapped in their suffering, and they will never ever emancipate themselves from it. And so, this is why our relationship is so volatile, because I can't do anything about it. And it doesn't matter if I just sat here and just listened and listened. It will still end up the same. It will still end up in tears, because she'd work herself up into that. So whether I said anything or not, the result's always the same. So with you, the viewer, you like listening to these sort of discussions. Gives you a couple of bits to think about. Maybe opens your eyes a little bit here and there to family members and things like that. Maybe you are like my sister. Can't talk, can't tell it now, can't say it now, can't get it over. You can't release that from you. So one viewer, she said to me, thank you for that video about your sister and this and that. She said, the biggest thing with me is that I would like to sever from certain family members, but I couldn't deal with the ramifications. Well, we can all imagine what the ramifications are. You know, being called a bitch or being slandered and this, that and the other, and, aggressive phone calls and everything. When my sister Every single time she leaves here, she's always and this and that, and then she's speaking absolute vitriol, evil. But the next day, even though she apologised, she wouldn't remember. She wouldn't. Oh, come on, please. Not time for fucking rock and roll now. She wouldn't learn anything from it. Okay, so she can apologise. Just tries to smooth things over, but doesn't introspect. She wouldn't say, so why does it always happen with us? It's been happening with us like this for years and years and years. Why does it always end the same? And I could say, well, the first thing is that you're carrying a lot of weight. The second thing is that you're drinking too much. And whenever you enter into this conversation, you're always well on your way. And you continue to drink, and it's never going to get any better, is it? It's only going to go one way. So why don't you see that? Why don't you prevent that? Why don't you come round in the daytime when you're not drinking and talk about these things? Can't. It just comes to a head whenever the drink gets a bit much and she gets a bit emotional, and then she'll destroy every single relationship in her vicinity. And that doesn't register, that she keeps doing that over and over and over again. And so, in the end, people just get tired and they just glaze over. It's like my older brother. He doesn't want anything to do with her, never has. He's never had the constitution to be able to listen to her. He's just kind of like, he can't deal with it, you see. He can't fucking deal with his own shit. So he doesn't want to deal with anybody else's shit. But I'll lend anybody an ear. And I text a friend today and asked if he wanted to do Google Meet chat on a particular subject relevant to us both. And I hadn't spoken to him in about 5 weeks, maybe since I was a bit off, dismissing, what he was feeling or something. Basically, I just said, look, you feel more compassionate about the masses than I do. I don't have any compassion. I don't believe in compassion. I question very, very heavily the notion of love. I'm very, very sceptical about that, because with all of these concepts, when we try to find the root of them, we just end up in the abyss. So what are these things? They're just figments of our own imagination. We've just coined terms, and we have some sort of very, very loose allegiance with whatever it is. And if I said to you, what's love? It's kind of like, ooh, what is love? Well, when I love my partner, when I love my kids. Well, what do you mean when you love? That's just something that you're doing. Can't you express it? Can't you tell me about it? Well, I do this for them and I do that for them. And I'm like, well, you see, everybody would just come out with just a load of fucking ramblings. And, the most succinct thing I could ever say is that, look, if you love someone, then you would be prepared to die for that person. Now, if it is love that I have for my daughter, then that love would enable me to give my life in an instant to save hers. So that's all you need to know about love, if it's a thing. And then you can say to yourself, well, where does that derive from then? Why is it only with your daughter? Well, it could be a genetic thing, most likely it is. Could be a spiritual thing. Most likely it is. But whatever it is, because my daughter is in actual fact me, just a seemingly separate part, like we're all supposed to be, the same thing, but we've become too fragmented. But with family members, some of them, no other person on the planet would I do that for, only one, and that's from my loins. And so my love just wouldn't extend to anybody. It wouldn't Would I give everything I've got in my home because somebody lost theirs? No. Would I give half of what I've got in my home because one of my family members lost theirs? No. Would I give anything? Probably not. Just don't feel it, people. Don't feel it. So, love, compassion, each to their own. And I think if you think about them more and more, then they become more and more obscure. And then your compassion and your love would morph into obligation and guilt and fear of reprisal and all these different sorts of things. I'm telling you now, people. So, yeah, my sister, she start speaking evil, just the sort of text which just should destroy a relationship forever. And in my mind, they have done over the years. They've destroyed the relationship forever because I have seen evil in that person. When I, on the other hand, I've never exhibited it. I've never exhibited evil to anybody. But I've had that projected onto me. And as soon as that happens, well, you know what you're dealing with, don't you? And it doesn't matter how many apologies are made. Oh, it's because we're family and this, that and the other. No, it doesn't do it. Because all you're doing is just waiting for the next time. And you don't want the next time. You just don't want the next time. When you've actually seen evil in the face and spitting and phlegm and all that vile stuff, you're like, I can't go back now. I can't unsee that. I can't unsee that. And so yeah, people, you know, they're afraid of family members. And so this is another reason why we really have to question our love and our compassion, because if you rub them up the wrong way, your family members, oh fucking dear, you'll suffer their fucking wrath. And how many people have? I know loads of you'll say things like, I just completely fucking disowned my family. It's the only thing you can do, block them on all fucking social medias, delete their phone and fucking never answer the door if the cunts come round. Chuck a bucket of fucking shit over them or something like that so they get the message. Yeah, fucking lethal, people. So this friend, he was saying about all what's going on in the world, and I'm like, look, at the end of the day, what's going on in the world is what's going on in the fucking world. You know, if Klaus Schwab's doing this and Bill Gates is doing that and fucking Biden was doing this and now Trump's going to do that, what of it? There's always been people doing this, that and the other forever, and there always will be. Why are you going to get involved in that shit? Oh yeah, well, they're doing this and they're doing it. You know, what I always say to these people is, why you just pick one? Why are you just picking Bill Gates? Why don't you just pick, you know, if you want me to write a fucking list one night, I'll just write a fucking list. You know, within 20 minutes I'll give you 100 of people that you could have a go at. But no, you just choose one because it came through on your feed and, you know, it's quite prominent, and this person doing that person doing this to us. And I'm like, well, I just don't see it. First and foremost, I don't have any compassion for the idiot. I think if the hat fits, they should fucking wear it. If Bill Gates is going to be fucking sticking some shit in them, then they're stupid enough to fucking take it, then they deserve it in all respects. And if you know, people are going to be creating wars and then send people and people volunteer, well, more for them. You know, I've got no compassion for anybody that gets their arms and legs blown off or get blinded or whatever, because they signed up to kill. They had killing on their mind. They wanted to be a hero. They wanted it all their own way. I'm going to go and be a soldier. I'm going to be a lethal weapon and I'm going to go and kill. They never thought about, well, some fucker over there is going to be trying to kill you as well. And that's very probable. And then when they get their face blown off or this, that and the other, oh, feeling sorry for themselves. My government doesn't look after me now. Your government doesn't give a fuck about you. Never did. Never will. You were just stupid enough to fucking fancy yourself as a fucking hero. So now, you know, wallow in your own fucking shit. No pity. No compassion. No. People need to think a little bit more. And the harsh reality is, by the time they've had their arms and legs blown off, well, they've got all the time in the world to think, haven't they? If they ever lend themselves to it, but the chances are they don't. They just do drugs and get pissed. And so, well, whatever. You're never going to do anything really in your life anyway. If that's what you're going to do every time you reach a fucking obstacle in your life, hit the fucking drugs and booze. No respect, people, no respect. So, I said this to this person. Because, like, this person's... He's always got someone that, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that. And this isn't right and that isn't right. I'm like, the whole world isn't right. Where do you want to start? You know, it's very silly and very naive if you just get prompted by something in your feed or what somebody says when they meet you in the shop or the fucking booze are. Why don't you just like sit down and think what things you want to address in the world yourself? Do you want to address poverty? Do you want to address hate? Do you want to address manipulation? Do you want to address surveillance? Well, you've got a billion things to have a go at if you want. It'll keep you busy forever and a day. Me, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. In actual fact, I'm glad for people like Schwab and Gates and fucking Soros and all those. If they're keeping the population down, I'm all for that. Oh, more fucking space for me. More space for me, people. You know, if we had this utopia where everyone loves each other and everything's wonderful, can you imagine what the population would be by now if we didn't kill each other? You know, for all these thousands of years, we wouldn't be able to fucking move. What resources would we have? We wouldn't be able to have any fucking thing. You know, we would literally be, you know, in like concentration camps. The whole world would be a concentration camp. You know, with gazillions and gazillions of fucking pink slugs fucking sucking up all the energy from everywhere. No, wars and people plotting to reduce the population and all this. They serve the survivors. They're serving me. I live like a king. I live one of the best lives that anyone could ever live. When I look at people like film stars and, you know, like Leonardo DiCaprio on his $50 million yacht and this, that and the other, he needs that fucking yacht to be able to get away from the fucking idiot. Because he can't go anywhere in the fucking world without someone going, oh, Leonardo, and fucking wanting a fucking cunting selfie and for him to scratch his fucking monocle. And so, how insufferable. So they've built these prisons for themselves and they deserve it. They deserve it. So therefore, you know, for them to have a life like me, it cost them trillions and trillions. I can walk down the street, nobody bat an eyelid. Great. I'm completely at peace. But the point is, you see, the biggest thing about, oh, Bill Gates, he's doing this and Klaus Schwab doing that, is that you become a victim. I'm not a victim. Never been a victim. Never will be a victim. Even when I was shot in my fucking bed, I wasn't a victim. One of the best things that ever happened to me. Seriously, one of the best things that ever happened to me. Spending a year in a prisoner of war camp in Arizona, one of the best things that ever happened to me. Fucking incredible, incredible experiences. Suffering, people. Suffering. Those who know how to suffer. You see, if you're an alchemist, like I'm an alchemist, I'm a wizard, I can transmute suffering into gold. And so whenever anything has happened to me in the past, I just embrace that. I feel that surge of energy, and it gives me enormous power and endless material for contemplation. And so the things that have happened to me in my life, death of the mother and all different sorts of things like that, wow, made me the man I am today. Can't fault it. Can't fault me. Can't fault me, people. Healthy, intelligent, mentally and physically fit. Got everything in the world that I desire. been around the world and done all the wonderful things that anyone could ever imagine doing, sit here puffing on my pipe listening to Patsy Cline. There is a heaven. We create it. Potentially it's here now. There is a heaven, people. So, talking, how many people can do it? Not many. You know, my channel is living testimony to that. How many people want to hold a conversation with someone like me? It's too terrifying, isn't it? Terrifying. Terrifying. Too much fear. Too much insecurity. Yeah. It's very bizarre. So, when people are going through their lives thinking that they know something, well, here's the thing. If you think you know something, write a book. Write a book and then you know whether you know something or not. Just sit down and decide you're going to write a book. Doesn't matter what it's about. Just start writing. See your powers of cognition. What your memory is like. What your knowledge is like. What your poetic flair is like. Put yourself to task. See if you really do know anything. Because there's too many people walking around this planet that think they know something, and actually they know fuck all. And if you ever ask them about, what do you know? What do you know about this? What do you know about that? All they ever do is repeat something that they fucking heard. Like my sister telling me that consciousness is in the front of the brain and the unconsciousness is in the back of the brain. And then the fight or flight, she said the fight or flight thing that goes on in your body that came from the Second World War. I'm like, what are you on about that came from the Second World War? That thing, the fight or flight, when your kidneys, cause this reaction in your body. And I'm like, your kidneys cause that reaction? It stemmed from the Second World War. Just fucking nonsense. Just nonsense, people, what they say. And I'm like, how do people... And I said, where do you get off on? Just speaking with such a surety. And then she's looking in the phone, she's Googling it. And then it comes up with an answer as to what fight or flight is. And it's nothing to do with what she was saying. Where it comes from. It doesn't fucking come from anywhere except through evolution. And it's in probably all fucking animals. Survival thing. But people just think they know something. And they've just got a conglomerate of fractions of information in their heads, and they go through their lives spilling them out without ever asking themselves where that came from. What's the veracity? Is there any efficacy to those things at all? What else do you know about that particular subject? Why is it you think you actually even know what you're saying? Do you know where the information come from? If people, could say, yeah, I know where it come from. I read this book by such and such a person, and in there it said this, that, and the other. I'll go, well, okay, that's a start, that's the beginning. But if you're reading, things like that, and you think it's true, then just keep reading. Just keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. Different subject matter. Read science, read biology, read philosophy, read chemistry, and then you'll start to get conflict in information. And what you thought you knew will be torn apart by what other people thought they knew. And in the end, by the time you've read, for years and years and years, and you've absorbed information, you realise that there isn't anything really that I could actually say is knowledge. Nothing that's dependable, nothing that I could say that that's true. Nothing at all. Absolutely zero. How bizarre is that? So when I stated that in a video a couple of weeks ago, one person was like, 15 years, all this stuff and you don't know anything. He obviously wasn't aware of the saying that goes like, the more I learn, the more I realise how little I know. There has to come a point, people, whereby you've learnt so much, you don't consider it worthwhile learning anymore. And you see, this is the position that Osho, Rajneesh, he got himself into this situation, having read for thousands of books, thousands of books. He just stopped reading, because what's the point? All you're going to do is get just different opinions. That's all that's out there, opinions. And if people think there's facts, then for how long? The facts will change. Tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. This book I'm reading at the moment in time, a very interesting and informative book, but it was written in 1779. And in this book he's speaking about religion and the ridiculous nature of it, and saying this, he said, look, if what we're told about Christianity is not going to make everybody's faces red, then they shouldn't really be reading anything ever other than the Bible. And that's why it says in the Bible, don't read anything else, just read the scriptures, because everything else is evil. Yeah, because everything else is going to give you knowledge. Like what the serpent said, going to give you knowledge, going to fuck you up. It's most certainly going to change your mind if you're thinking rational person about the Bible. So Thomas Payne, he says this, he says, look, in recent times we've learnt about the planets flying around the sun, and we're one of them. And he said there's 6 planets. And I'm like, wow, yeah. In the very late 1700s, there was only 6 planets known to man, because Neptune and Uranus and Pluto hadn't been discovered. And then he said that the sun is 88 million miles away. Well, now they say it's 93 million miles away. And of course now we've got 9 planets if you include Pluto. And you look at that and you go, well, that's how knowledge changes, isn't it? So why would we think that we're going to believe anything now which is concrete, in view of the fact that every single year we discover something new, and it's out with the old and in with the new? So why would we ever have any faith that we know anything? It's preposterous, isn't it? And then people could say, yes, well, the technology is much better now. Well, can you imagine how better it's going to be in 100 years, in 1,000 years? So I say people don't know anything. It's just stupid. And if any of you guys think you know something, don't expect me to respect that. And I'm always the first to tell you that I don't know anything. I'm just fucking around here, human experience, just speculating, just having a crack. And so, you know, I say things in the videos, and then people are like, oh, this is this and that's that. No, it's not. Really, it's not. And I'm not telling you in my videos that this is this and that's that. I'm just giving you the opportunity to think more for yourselves. That's all I'm doing. You can think positively about the things I say, you can think negatively. But as long as you're thinking ultimately, then some changes are going to come to pass. And that's the thing, that's all it's about. That we just keep going forward with our own personal evolution. And ultimately, we die with whatever we know. What of it? Fuck, what of it? But if you listen to some people, then they'll say, well, spirit takes that shit with you, you know. And so in the other dimension, you've got all this stuff, you've got all this knowledge and information of many, many myriad of lives. And I can get my head around that. Like the Akasha, cosmic consciousness, other dimensions of intelligence. I'm a great believer that information doesn't disappear. It sticks around, it hangs around. And that's why they speculated or invented the Akashic records all those years ago. Because they knew the information, nothing really new under the sun, people. So anyway, what this video really has been about is that most people will find that they can't talk, they can't think. Nobody knows anything, there's nothing to know. And so it's kind of like, it's marginally disappointing when you realise that there's nothing to really know, there's no real knowledge to get. And people that talk about truth, you know how many people talk about truth? I'm like, are you fucking serious? That's just a height of naivety, talking about truth. Whether you're in science or fucking philosophy or whatever the fuck it is, what fucking truth? Truth is transitory, truth is just a concept, truth is an illusion. And so, you know, we just go through life and, you know, we eat shit and die. We experience stuff, we feel things, and, you know, if we have a good time, then I suppose that's what it's about. A positive experience, generally. You know, negative experiences are great, they serve us well, they serve us very, very well. So experience, we have experience. And then, eventually when we're on our deathbeds, we'll look back and we'll go, wow, as long as we're not shitting and pissing ourselves and completely fucking demented. But for thinking people, I don't think thinking people get like that, I don't know. You know, there's so many thinking people around that, you know, in the 90s still could, you know, hold a good fucking conversation and draw on their memory of fucking years and years ago. Anyway, people. So what did you take from this video? Nothing to take, is there? Nothing to take. If you're young, you might feel pretty deflated. So there's nothing to know. And I can strive and strive and strive and learn and learn and know. Learn. And I'm never really going to know anything. No, you're never going to be sure about anything. You're never going to find anything that's concrete. Nothing at all. And so, at some stage in your development, you'll have a level of acceptance of that. And then you'll learn to laugh at it, cosmic giggle. What's it all about? Millions and millions and trillions and gazillions of people still don't even know what's going on inside here. Don't even know what it is that's enabling me to have this little conversation. No idea.